don't even know what the hell this word means.
What? What word?
That's how you feel? Let me heart it. I guess we'll kick it off like that then. I guess we in California on the West Coast or something. We in a techno club or something. I don't know what it is. But what's up, everybody? Man, it's your boy Chester, man. And we're back for another episode of the What You Mean podcast, where we are dedicating the month of May on Sundays, our What's New segments to dope moms. We have another dope mom with us here on this evening. So we're hoping to definitely get some gems and get all that other good stuff, man. But you know, before we actually kick it off, you know what I'm saying? Me and Kim got to do our thing. So I'm your host, LeCheston.
And I'm your co-host, Kim.
And we're back again, man. And we're going to go ahead and spin the table and give our guest the opportunity to introduce herself and let you guys know where you can actually find her.
I'm April Collins. I'm actually, first a wife, a mom. I'm an attorney and an author. I'm right here based in Hoover. Hey, call me if you need me.
That's what's up. You based in Hoover.
She's literally down the street.
Down the street.
Like we could walk to her office.
Okay. So what's your...
I don't need y'all to walk over there, though. Because people come to me when they're injured. And so I don't want y'all to get hurt.
So you're an injury attorney?
I'm an injury attorney. Yes.
Gotcha. My knees hurt.
I
need to find somebody to blame it on.
Oh. We're not taking them kind of cases.
We can blame it on Jay.
Slap already? So, April, I guess if I'm trying to go in a direction with my conversation, I guess I'm gonna ask you. I heard you say that you were a wife and a mom. Of course, that's why you're here. First and foremost, how long have you been married?
Oh, coming into 12 years.
12.
Been together 15.
I met in college.
You said long year.
Yeah, I said long. I just told somebody I can't even. They've been married 23 years on one of my interviews.
That's
and I was like, I can't even stand a relationship 3 years. And you talking about being married for 23 of them things, boy.
I'm trying to get one.
Talk to them when you can. Talk to them when you can. So congratulations on you guys standing in the rain, man. The person I was just telling you about the 23 years, I definitely commend our bad people that take marriage seriously and do what's necessary to keep that intact. And ultimately what we talked about was making sure that our kids are raised in a two-parent household.
Right.
So
a
definitely
good two-parent household. We don't want them to be in fighting and craziness.
I agree with you. and that's enough. We'll get to that later on. We'll put a pin right there. We'll get a pin right there. So 12 years of marriage. How many kids?
4.
You got 4 babies?
Well, my oldest is actually 20. So
you got a 20-year-old?
Mm-hmm. He's my husband is his bonus dad, like they call it nowadays. But yes, I actually had him. I was pregnant in high school.
Wow.
Yep.
And you still prevailed.
It's a story.
Give us the story then. Where you want to start at? Where you want to start at?
So, pregnant in high school, I actually walked across the stage. I was 5 months pregnant. And I had him on August 19th. Classes at the community college started on August 20th. So, yes, I started college a day after I had my baby.
Literally? They let you leave the hospital and go do that?
Well, when I left the hospital, I went to the school, got all my stuff, because I did that's when I first started online classes.
Okay.
20 years ago. So I took my online stuff and I had them, with me, but we were at home. When he turned 4 months, we moved down here to Birmingham. Okay. I brought him to Birmingham with me and we went to UAB. So.
Y'all both went to UAB?
Well, he came with me. He lived with me. He actually went to a sitter, but yep, I brought him down here with me. Now, that's a story too, because we didn't stay long. We stayed a few months and then we had to go back home because it was hard. But I ended up going back home, going back to the community college for a year, kind of getting my groove, and came back to UAB and I graduated and then went to law school.
And that be the inspirational stuff that, you know what I'm saying, we want to utilize the platform for in terms of, dedicating the platform to mothers and telling stories. And because I like when I hear people that may not necessarily talk about it, but they actually have went through some of the same things that I went through. So, I don't want to dig and pry, but whatever you're willing to share that I know that maybe another mother's listening to on the podcast and they can relate to it, you know what I'm saying? Because I definitely want to know. I heard you say, like, we came up here, but it didn't go as planned, and then we had to go back.
We had to go back. And actually, I wrote a book, y'all,
You got
about
a
it.
book?
I'm an author.
She does.
Hold it up right
I don't know.
to your camera. Put it on your camera.
So that one there.
So it's called Only the Strong Thrive. And
Okay, hold on just a second. All right, in your book?
it's Only the Strong Thrive. And it basically just chronicles my life because, I told you about being pregnant and going to school. But before then, lived in a just, troublesome household with parents who, there was domestic violence and they ended up getting divorced, and my dad was a drug dealer. So there's a lot in this book that I encourage people to read if you just need some motivation and encouragement, because this tells how I went from the bottom to,
Where you are
where
now.
I am now. So, yeah.
And that's such, like you said earlier, like that's such an inspiration, because I know there's so many young girls now that are going through the exact same things that you went through. So you're definitely able to speak to that and then give them some light and hope of encouragement. Like, just because you're here doesn't mean you'll stay there forever.
You just got to keep taking steps,
Yeah.
small steps. And that's what my book talks about. It's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And don't look at, okay, where am I going to be in 5 years? Just
Right.
look at tomorrow. Like, what do I need to do to get through tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just got to break it up in chunks. If you try to think of the whole big picture, it's overwhelming.
Yeah. What was one of the toughest things you went through in that period, being a mom so young and going to school? And because I know you spoke to me a little bit about it whenever we first met. But what were some of the major challenges for you?
There was a lot. Just being a single mom, being young, not having really an example, because my mom didn't go to college. She actually dropped out of high school.
Wow.
My dad went for a little bit, but he didn't graduate. And so kind of making my own path in a way.
Yeah.
So that was hard because I didn't really have any examples. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to just go off of like, look, we got to make it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So where are you from?
I'm from Athens, Alabama.
Okay.
Now, most people think Georgia, but no, it's Alabama.
But
And
it's that's up north Alabama, right?
North Alabama, close to Huntsville.
Okay. I don't know much about Athens, so I ain't gonna talk about your hometown. Hold on now. You get the skate on that one. Because I don't know about Athens. But a lot of the reason I asked where you're from is because some of the things that you told me you went through, and some of the things that you dealt with in the small city or the small community that you came from. I know some of the things that we dealt with in the small community, in the small city that I came from, because I came from a little small place as well. So, when I say I was going to talk about it, I was definitely going to make some jokes, but it was more in context of just bringing some to head for us to discuss that we both have in common, so.
I think it's universal, though. I think that in any community, you're going to see kind of similar things.
I agree.
Nothing is going to be so much different from this community to that one.
Mm-hmm.
We all deal with struggles, and being the Black community as well, we have our own issues. So it could be your city or mine. We're going to be dealing with the same things.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I know another thing that was kind of challenging, being a high schooler and being pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was a good student. I made good grades. Everybody knew I would go to college. That was not an issue. It was just, when I became pregnant, everybody's like, oh, look at her.
Right.
Like, y'all thought she was going to do this. Y'all thought she was going to do that. And now look at her. She ain't no better than nobody else. So I had to hear those things.
Yeah.
As a young teenage girl. And then, dealing with abortion, thinking about abortion. And I talk about that in my book. My mom wanted me to have an abortion,
Wow.
because she didn't want me to be like her. She thought if I get pregnant, have a child, that's going to limit, which it did, limit me in a way, but it didn't stop me.
Got you.
And I think that she felt like, okay, if she has this baby, she's not going to achieve.
Right.
So in a way, I think she was trying to protect me, but I just couldn't do it.
I understand. So what the so when you got pregnant in high school, then you going through all this stuff. Like, what was Of course, we just talked about definitely like the I forget the name of the word, the protagonist of the moment of the season of that particular time. But what was your support system like? I mean, were there people there standing in your corner to encourage you, to let you know that it's gonna be okay?
It's so funny that you ask about that, because in my book I talk about the strength, how we have strength in different areas to get us to where we need to be. And so in my book I talk about the strength of community, how people, it could be one person, you just might need that one person to be the one who helps to push you and things like that. So I definitely had some supporters. One in particular that I can think about right now was our minister's wife, because she was a teenage mother. Okay. And so when she found out, she pulled me to the side and was like, you're going to be good. I've been through this. So having her to tell me, and she's a minister's wife, I'm like,
right.
Okay, like I can do this. So there were definitely some people who were supportive. But, sometimes that's a little drowned out by the people who got other things to say. So
tell me about it. Tell me about it.
But they don't matter now. They don't matter now.
Well, oh, yeah.
It's amazing, though, the things that actually fuel us.
True.
You know what I'm saying? I think one of the things, and this is not to take this moment off of you, because this podcast session is about you. Again, a lot of stuff that I say or give examples for is just because I'm trying to be like a mirror of what you're giving me. A lot of things that fueled me to go was just like the unacceptance. You know what I'm saying? I've said this before. I say it again. Like, the reason I went to the Marine Corps is because a female told me I didn't have what it takes to be a Marine. So I joined the Marine Corps. You know what I'm saying? We got a couple graduates of college in my family, but I think it's all like JUCO type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that any degree is bigger or better than the other one. I'm just saying, I decided to go to school because when I got out of the military and came back home, everybody was telling me that I was just gonna be like everybody else, stuck in Evergreen, Alabama, like trying to sell dope, trying to be the next dope boy, whatever the case may be. Like, but I knew that wasn't really what I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And ended up in school. So I'm saying all that to say, like, I see. You know what I'm saying? If you're here and Kim brought you in, like, she brought you in definitely for a dope reason. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you're not a product of what your naysayers said you should have been, because some people fall suspect to that.
They do. And that's one thing I talk about as well, is how I use that as fuel. I call it fuel to, just motivate me and push me, because I'm like, they're not going to determine where I am or what I do. So it helps. And I think that wherever you can find the motivation, find it.
Yeah.
I had it in that. I had it in my child, of course. There were different things that motivated me, because sometimes you need those outside motivators if you can't motivate yourself.
Right.
For every good, there's a necessary evil. People don't want to acknowledge it, but it is. For every good, there's a necessary evil. What you got, Kim?
What led you to wanting to get into law?
Ooh. So actually, I told you my dad, so I come from a family of lawbreakers.
Load the chopper.
Listen, if you could imagine the things that I saw growing up. But my dad would always tell me, because I argued so much with him, everything was always an argument. And he's like, you need to be a lawyer. Like, so from growing up, just hearing him tell me that, it just stuck with me, And he was probably saying it in a way like, you are getting on my nerves. But I took that and I'm like, okay, I could be a lawyer. So at 12, I think, years old, when the O.J. Simpson trial came, I just sat and watched the entire trial.
Wow.
And I was enamored. I was like, ooh. And so from there, I always wanted to be a lawyer, but then when I got pregnant, I didn't think I could. There were some times where I was like, how am I going to do this with the baby?
Yeah.
Right.
How am I going to go to school? So I had doubts at times, but like I said, I just kept moving every step, just taking steps to get there. But it was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, goodness. I can imagine.
And I know I used to say this thing when I was in college. The quote of "I am who I am because that's who I want to be" type deal. And I'm not saying that is wrong. I'm not saying that it's wrong because we have the free will to choose who we want to be. But I had the opportunity to do a motivational speaking, and that was the base of my lecture. And I changed it to "I am who I am because that's who I'm forced to be."
Okay.
I think the situation dictate outcomes sometimes. Like going back to the fuel. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I am pregnant at a teenage year and I'm about to graduate, but I know what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? This is my situation. This is what I got to do to overcome. Because it's not so much as in, it's always, I'm glad that your mindset was set on, this is what I want. You know what I'm saying? But the situation was like, this is what you got to do too.
Yeah.
Like, I got to be a great mom. I got to be a great influence. I got to set the bar different from where it was set for me. You know what I'm saying? So that was, in that lecture, that was my thing. Like, I am who I am because that's who I'm forced to be. Like, situation always dictate outcome. It just depends on how people handle the situation.
Absolutely. And again, I'm going to point to my book, y'all, because I talk about that. I talk about that in my book, how I was basically forced to keep going. Like, there was no other option for me. There wasn't an option of staying home, just working a 9 to 5, just to take care of my child. Like, that wasn't an option. I was forced because I saw what it could be. I love everybody in my community. I love my family. But, you see what the options are. You see, if you don't go, this is what you have.
Right.
And that wasn't what I wanted.
I love, too, that even, like, your dad speaking that over you as a child, and you let that really, like, resonate with you. And even with everything that you've been through, everything that you've seen, you didn't let that stop you walking in your purpose, because all of that's been tied and linked together. And a lot of times, like, when we are going through trials and tribulations and, you have all this stuff put on you or these obstacles and whatnot, you can let that hinder you. You can let it really, like, keep you from going forward to doing what God has called you to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you think about that on the other side of that. Think about parents who don't speak life over their children, who say you're never going to be this. Or that really, like, it gets into their mindset and it really determines how they're going to be. Some of them can, get past it, but it's harder. It just makes a hard road even harder.
Yeah.
They may get past it, but they never forget it.
They're not going to forget it.
Yeah, they never forget it.
Never.
I mean, it's just, so, we got your book.
Yep.
We got to make sure we tell people where they can find it at. And then, we talked about what happened in the teenage years. We talked about how you had a baby and then you was at somebody's school the next day.
Crazy.
And then you came up to Birmingham, and then some things happened in Birmingham that forced you to go back to Athens. And then what got you back to Birmingham?
Well, I knew I had to come back. Like, I knew I had to graduate from UAB. Like, I always wanted to go to UAB. I always wanted to graduate. So that was my goal. Like, I'm a goal setter, and I'm going to do it. Like, that's how. And so I was like, okay, I'm just taking a break. But it was the most painful thing to come back home because, everybody already was saying, well, you're not going to do this or that. And so I'm like, yes, I am. But then I go, and I have to turn right back around and come home. Like, that was the...
Man, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Throughout my journey, I think that was one of the lowest places because I'm like, man, I found myself right back at home, and they said I wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know, and so going to church was hard because you see the people, and it was just hard. But I knew that coming back was what I wanted to do and what I needed to do. I had to graduate. I mean, I wanted to go to law school. You can't.
Where did you go to law school?
I went to Faulkner in Montgomery.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I stayed in states. I talk about that as well, how I had a offer out of state, but I just couldn't do it with the baby. It was already hard enough doing it,
Where was the offer at?
It was in Orlando.
Orlando?
Florida.
Okay.
But I decided, I thought the best thing was to stay here, at least close enough so my family, because my son actually didn't stay with me my first year of law school. He stayed with his dad's parents. So they kept him for a year, which was very helpful.
Wow.
Because your first year, they don't want you to work. They don't want you to do anything but focus on school.
Yeah.
And so having a baby, well, he was 4 or 5 at that time, would have been too hard. So they kept him the first year, and then he came back with me the second year.
Wow.
Second and
Gotcha.
third year.
So he was in the gump with you.
He was in the gump. The gump is different, y'all.
Man, did you tell me?
Is it? That's not my stomping ground.
Yeah, I mean, it was when I was in school, but Montgomery never been my spot neither. Like when I moved up here, they gave me my job gave me transfer option to come to either Montgomery or Birmingham. I was like, please don't send me to Montgomery. I'll go to Birmingham and be here ever since. So
You made a good choice. You made a good choice.
So when did you meet the hubby?
We actually met in 2007 at a Kappa party.
He a noob?
He's a noob.
Here we go. Podcast over.
Oh my God.
Wait,
Load up the chopper one more time, man. Yeah, man.
Such a hater.
Golly, man.
Yes, he is. And it was actually a back to school party. And hey, we met. It's so funny because you never think of meeting your spouse at a club,
Yeah.
That's like the
Well, in
last.
college is different. Like, because I think the majority, whoever you end up like choosing in college, 9 times out of 10, that's who you end up marrying. You know what I'm saying? So did you meet him while you was at UAB?
Well, I had actually just graduated. He was still in school. He was at A&M. So he was just down here for
You
a
met
party.
a Kappa from A&M?
Yes.
Wow.
Listen. I got, what is he Greek?
He is.
Oh, you must, let me
He's a-
see.
I'm not. I'm gonna let him tell you.
I
mean, you can figure it
Go
out.
ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm going to have to.
Size him up real quick.
What I look like?
I don't even, don't get me in that boat right there.
What I look like? I mean, what I look like? That's a good thing.
Obviously not a Kappa because
Was that would have been your first choice though?
He's an alpha.
no. Okay, you're alpha.
You would have chose Alpha?
No,
I look like an Alpha.
I don't know.
You don't want to play the game,
I'm not getting
counselor. Approach the bench, counselor.
I'm not getting in
You
that.
don't want to play the game?
Because you know what? The stereotypes are not always.
That is true.
That's true, but everybody don't get offended when you say what it is. Like, to be completely honest, and I'm saying this on my podcast platform, especially now that I got a little older, I'm starting to like coming to look at my age. You know what I'm saying? But before that, if somebody seen me, how I was dressed, how I carried myself, they automatically thought I was a Kappa.
Really?
Like, yeah, I had to tell them I wouldn't. Like, automatically. I hung around a lot of Kappas. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
my roommate, my best friend in college was a Kappa. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it was. But I played Sigma.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. Well,
so
okay.
he was A&M at a party where?
Here in Birmingham at the Continental.
At the
Y'all remember
What
the
you know about the
Continental? Hey, we
Continental?
was up in the Continental. What you talking about?
Bro, listen, I came to one part of the Continental. When I tell you them folk used to be parked up on that curb by the mountain all the way down to where the kangaroo
right.
is.
Listen, Continental used to be it. So we met at the
Fine.
Continental. Like,
Met at the Continental. He was strolling.
he was strolling. I was strolling.
What are you?
Strut. Look, let me ask you.
You got on pink. You look like a K.
What else is there?
Oh, your sisters, the Deltas, your sisters. That's what. Where you played, Jack?
UAB.
Okay, cool.
Like I said what I said.
I owed a 5. Yes, Iotafy.
That's what's up.
But yeah, so we were, just doing our thing, and he pulled me out of the line.
He pulled you out the line.
Pulled me out. Now you ain't supposed to do that.
Oh, that's what what you do when you got the balls.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you be like. What's up? Like I'm putting you on spot. Like you got to make something shake. Like right
Not
here.
to pick her.
Yes, and he did it. He picked me, and we've been rolling ever since.
That's what's
I
up,
love
man.
it.
That's what's up, and so what's his profession, if you don't mind me
He
asking?
is a principal.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't got his own master's in administration. In education, and went on the administration side of things.
Yes, he did.
They say if you want to make some paper, that's the direction you need to go if you want to be with education and make some money.
Yeah, they should be paying teachers a little bit more. But,
I definitely agree. Definitely in the state of Alabama, I think we behind the power curve on everything. Everything. So that's what's up, man. So husband's a Noop, you're a K. Y'all met in college, and
Y'all have 3 daughters.
No, we have 2 sons, 2 daughters.
Okay, 2 sons, 2 daughters.
So, yeah.
And how old are they again? I know your oldest is 20.
20, 11, 7, and 5.
5. Y'all done?
Yeah, we done. We done. I would now. If you would ask me a couple of years ago, I might have said, but we love kids. We would have more. It's just our careers right now.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to bring them into a nourishing environment, and right now we just running too much.
On the go.
Yeah.
On the go. I get that. So how do you? Yeah, I can't answer that question. That's the Kim question.
It is my question.
I was sure finna go there.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm gonna start popping some up on the screen that says Kim's. I can't say Kim's Corner because it sounds like Ricky Smiley. What's the girl name on Ricky Smiley show? Eva's Corner.
Yeah.
So I can't say that. But I'm gonna behind what you just said. I think it's the perfect time for Kim to answer the question.
In my spirit, too. It was coming. It's a good question though. So how do you balance life being a wife, being a mom, and then having your own business?
Ooh. Balance is sometimes hard. I think that you have to prioritize.
Yes.
Family's gonna always come first.
Right.
But I feel like my husband, like he knows, like some days, like tonight, he knows I'm gonna be here, so he's gonna pick up the slack to get the kids where they need to be, put them in the tub, and so we just work as a team, And if he were not who he is, I would not be able to do what I do.
That's what's up.
That's you
crucial.
really have to have that support, because every day you're not going to be 100%. Like every day I can't come home and cook.
Yeah.
And he might have to cook. And then some days, like he already told me tomorrow, he needs me to get the kids. So we just make it work.
Yeah.
For us, but it can be challenging, but you definitely have to be on the same page.
Got you.
That's vital.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So now that the balance question has already been asked,
Go ahead.
not like honestly, like realistically speaking, again, we told you how this particular segment for this month is kind of sort of positioned. So now that we've kind of sort of like set the criteria for, you know what I'm saying, where you came from, some of the things that you've been through, some of the things that you have to, take care of for you, just personally, now we're going to shift gears and kind of sort of go to, the mental side of things, because she's kind of sort of talked about, she asked the balance question. So now we want to make sure that when people tap into the podcast, they hear something from, the counselor, from Miss Abra Collins, that is going to be beneficial in terms of helping that single mom that may not think that somebody's still going to marry her or be with her and develop her. So like if you had an opportunity like right now in this moment to kind of sort of just speak like inspiration and mental like positively to help a single mother or somebody that may be even caring right now, or somebody that in their last year of law school and just happen to end up and get pregnant off the fly, like how do you feed that part of our culture in terms of keeping them like level-headed and inspirational? And I know you got your book, and we're gonna plug that book as much as we can.
Gotta get the book.
But what can you give the people in that aspect?
Ooh, that's a lot. The first thing I will say is for women who, especially like if you're in law school or you're a single mom, teenage mother, whatever, focus on you.
Okay.
because you have to be where you need to be for yourself,
Right.
before you can be who you need to be for a husband, a spouse, boyfriend, whatever. And I think a lot of times we as women, we want to be married, we want to have somebody, but we're focusing on that. Like, let me find this man. Don't focus on that. Focus on you. Mm-hmm. Do what you need to do to make you happy, feel good, and that's going to come. Like, you have to be a whole person yourself,
right,
before you can bring somebody else into that. You don't want to bring people into brokenness, definitely not kids.
right.
So I think you should focus on being the best person you can be before trying to, find that spouse. When I was in law school, I dealt with depression. I didn't go see a therapist. I probably should have, but I cried it out.
Right.
I mean,
tears are good. Tears are good. There have been moments where I come up here and share with Kim, like, look, bro, I just want to have a day where I can just cry so I can get over it, like, and just be done with it. So tears are good.
Yes, cried it out, called out to Jesus, broke down. Everything lost weight, everything that you can imagine with depression and not getting help. I dealt with that, but I still had that goal. Like, I wanted to finish. I wanted to make sure that, hey, you're here, you're in law school, you got to finish. I always focused, even when my husband and I were dating in law school, like, there was a point where we had to have a conversation. Like, I'm like, look, I'm graduating. Like, I love you, and we got this relationship thing going, but I got to do this for me.
Right.
And I feel bad because sometimes, he wanted to hang out or he wanted to do, and I didn't have that time. And I felt like if he didn't understand that, he wasn't the person for me.
I was just about to say, how did you know when he was the person?
When he stuck through it.
Yeah.
When he stuck it out, when he's like, you know what, I'm going to be selfless for this time. And I've been selfless for him. Like, it goes back and forth. Sometimes I have to put myself aside for him. He has to put himself aside. But we were just dating, and when he stuck it out with me through law school, like, it's like, yeah, we're gonna be in this for a long time.
How fast did the next baby come after law school?
Ooh, see, you got all these good questions. So actually, my husband and I, our first child together, I was actually pregnant with her in my last year of law school.
Nope. I knew it.
And I actually took the bar exam while 8 months pregnant with her. So I sat for the 3-day exam, pregnant, 8 months. And then I had her in September. So I had her a week before we found out bar exam results. So.
Oh my good. Wow.
So listen to this. So we're gonna keep it a buck here, right? Because for some reason, you ain't gonna never meet a parent that don't think that they children smart.
Okay.
Like, ain't nobody, and they may need to start using different words like that. Maybe they're challenging in this area or that area, but everybody not smart.
Okay.
I went to school just like everybody else went to school. Yeah, some people got good grades, some people got bad grades, some people got moderate grades, some people got extremely good grades.
Yeah.
The first 2 children that you have conceived have been during studying moments. Did that transfer over to your kids?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Ava, she was, that's her. My mother-in-law said she gonna come out with a book in her hand because I was studying for the bar exam from probably 10 hours a day, every day until the bar exam. So you have the summer to study. Mm-hmm. And so during that summer, everybody in law school, that's what they're doing. And so she's
we knew what you were doing in your summer on your break.
No, see, that was beforehand. Hold on. That was beforehand. We had already conceived. But no, so I was studying a lot with her, and then she's listening to, because, they would play the videos and stuff, so she's hearing all that. She's extremely smart. All our kids are really smart. Really.
That's good.
And it's just, I don't know if they have a choice, but you know,
They don't.
I mean, they got a principal. Like my daughters, they go to school with my husband.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd be wanting to go to a whole nother school.
Oh no, they love it. They love it. They think
they
they think they got some privileges.
They do. They do. What you mean? What you mean?
They do, but that's what they love it. They love, being the principal's daughters. They love it. They love
You're
it.
on your P's and Q's, dotting all those I's, crossing all those T's. Okay.
That's what's up.
You're not getting in
man.
trouble at all.
So past the bar and baby came, then found out you passed the bar. Correct? Or did I get that wrong?
Well, let me tell you before then. So we moved from Montgomery here.
Y'all were living together in Montgomery?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We were living together. So we moved here. I had a job here with the federal government because that's where I worked initially. And we weren't married yet. So we got married. We went to the courthouse and got married on the same day that we closed on our house. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what's
and
up,
I'm
man.
like huge. I'm huge pregnant. I mean, if you see the pictures, my face is like big, but we were dead set on like, we didn't want to do a wedding. We just wanted to be married. Like we didn't want to spend all that money. We was like, we're going to put this in this house. And so we got married, went and closed on our house and moved in the same day.
Well, can't do that in 2022. Housing market don't work like that. Housing market don't work like that.
It's really, it's crazy right now. The housing market is really crazy. But we still live in the house that we
For real?
bought in 2010.
So what part of the city are y'all
It's in Hoover.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
She's here.
When you bought? How many years ago?
2010.
Oh yeah, you might have got a deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
my
we had just
God.
come from the recession, had just kind of,
Oh yeah.
so the interest rates were great.
Yeah, they not no more.
And then we actually, we got a good deal on the house too because the person who was living there was moving with his job. And so his job just wanted to sell it. They bought it from him and they just wanted to sell. So we got a good deal because it was a corporation who had the house.
Man, I just seen my realtor posted the other day talk about some. Now, home buyers have to factor in the fact that they need to be budgeting for buying the house over rate. I mean, over the rate of what the asking rate is. So we already know about the bidding wars going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now the realtors are telling their buyers to prepare and budget for being able to pay over the market or asking price of the house.
So I know a realtor who does like just silent sales. Like she doesn't even put stuff on the market because like she already has people lined up to buy. So they don't even have to push it out there. It's crazy.
I want to live in Hoover so bad, but it's so high
It's expensive.
in terms of buying a house in Hoover, man. It's crazy, but I cannot live in the boondocks.
Crack your
I'm not an on-time person.
I know.
Like, I cannot live out there. If I got to drive 45 minutes to get to work just because I want to save some money, like, Lord, give me the money so I can go pay these folks what they want because I need to be
Just
close
work
to where I
from
need to be at. That part too. That part too.
Just work from home.
I know a lot of people moving to Chelsea, but that's a long way.
Chelsea's not bad.
Well, the ideal places right now that is gonna the fluctuation of housing is gonna be for the Alabaster and Calera area. They said the Alabaster and Calera are the fastest growing cities in like Alabama right now.
I can imagine.
And then of course you got people migrating to the Huntsville area because they're building all stuff. Basically, more jobs that are gonna pay you are coming to the Huntsville area right now. But in terms of like getting what you would get in Hoover or in Birmingham or whatever, it's starting to be that you can get that in Alabaster, Calera area.
Well, I know if we were to move from Birmingham, I would move to Huntsville. It's a growing city. I think that's the next best place in Alabama if you're gonna move somewhere.
That is true.
I don't see it, but a lot of people are saying that.
It's nice up there. I mean, every time I go, I'm like, wow, they're doing so much good stuff. Just making the city look really nice.
Yeah, it's grown a lot just from even when I was in school. Like I'm like, because my friends and I would go to Madison or we would go to Huntsville just like on the weekend just to get away because it's closer than coming down here to Birmingham or whatever. We go to the mall or go out to eat. So Bridge Street has changed drastically just in the last 10, 15 years. So yeah, it's definitely progressing.
That's what's up. My cousin's up there, so I get to go up there Blue Moon. He's like a IT director for NASA, so
Tell them to take you out to the good places.
Right.
man, every time we go, he'll Omega.
Oh.
So we sit at his house and listen
He
to
ain't
old
wearing them gold boots
music.
everywhere, is he?
Man. So I mean, last time I was up there, he did take me to like a little cigar lounge where like all the people that had been on like the little VH1 shows and stuff, like they
Oh,
own
you
a
talking
couple-
about Black?
Yeah,
Black.
He took
So
me in
that's-
there,
yeah.
introduced me to some people when
Okay.
the last time I was up there. So he that kind of person that I think eventually he'll probably be in office up there in some type of way in Huntsville, just because of how we move and like he a community person. He a PK, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, he went to Southern,
Yeah.
you know, and played football, played Omega, and just all around a good person.
That's awesome.
But you know, to redirect back towards you, you know what I'm saying? I ain't been keeping track of our time, so we finna get back at it for good solid. So overall, like where I see that God has definitely blessed you. It seems like you
Absolutely.
married your dream guy.
Yes.
Y'all had y'all dream kids, and I see nothing about, and he say nothing about the kid getting all your nerve. So
I mean, they're kids. They're gonna do what they do.
I got you. So what are your what's gonna be like what are your, and when I say expectations, I don't mean it in a bad way, because you know when we set expectations in people, that's normally when we get disappointed. And that was actually a great like preaching point. You know what I'm saying, is we're not supposed to set expectations in people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, our faith leads to lie. But like what's kind of sort of like the pathway that you as a mother are paving for your daughters and your son? Like what type of avenues are you taking them down? Case in point example, I had a father that sat on the platform, and he talked to me about, you know, when his kids, you know, get to high school, he's observed them over time. So he see where their strengths and their weaknesses are. And then what he does is he come up with a criteria for them, like a reading criteria. Like they had to read 12 books, and that's one book a month. You know what I'm saying? And he does it there each year that they're in high school. You know what I'm saying? And it's tied into, of course, you know, their alliances and things they ask for and want and stuff like that. So I'm not sitting there saying that has to be your criteria, but I am asking, like, what are some of the steps that you as a mother, being that you're a lawyer, you know what I'm saying, are taking in terms of like key things that you use in raising your kids?
Well, let me say this. I think that parents definitely, you know, they're going to have their own way, own style.
Of course.
Nobody can, you know, tell a parent how to parent their children. But we're kind of, I mean, we want them to do well in school. Like my son, he did well. They all make good grades and things like that. But we pressured, I think, and I would say we, but probably mostly me, pressured my oldest probably too much, because he was the one who, you know, traveled this journey with me. And I'm like, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to. And he did well. He made good grades, but I don't think it was the best way to, you know, motivate him.
Gotcha.
And so we're learning, because he was our first, but we're learning that each child is different.
Okay.
And what works for one might not work for the other.
That's true.
And we are at a place, and I hate to say this on this podcast, but we're at a place that we're going to kind of let them make their own way, in a sense. Like, I don't want to force college on my kids, even though I went to law school. You know, I'm a lawyer. I want them to find a passion. Like my daughter, she wants to bake, you know. And so instead of pushing her to a 4-year college, if she wants to go to culinary art school, we're going to support her in that. You
Right.
know,
That makes sense.
I just want children who are good citizens, who you know, contribute to their communities. They don't have to go to college and go to law school and do this, even though one of my daughters says she wants to go to law school, and that's great, but I'm not going to force that on her.
Right.
You know, I don't want to force anything. And I feel like with my oldest, I kind of tried to force, go here, go do this, do that, you know, and I think it gets overwhelming for them.
Got you.
Yeah.
And I think to, you know, just to add to what you said, you're right, man. College is not for everybody. And you know what, as much as people want to say whatever they want to say about the pandemic that we just got through dealing with, that really made our people realize that there's a lot of stuff on the inside of you that you can do that'll make you stand out so that you can make whatever kind of money that you want to make. So I figure, with you knowing the law, and then I heard her say that, you are a business owner, so you own your own practice.
I own my own
does.
practice, yes.
Can we get a hand clap?
Hallelujah. And that's even a story on its own. Like, I started in my basement at home. Yes, with my baby. She was born in October of 2014. I started January 2015. So I'm in my basement with my baby, And I stayed in my basement for 3 years until 2018. And then I moved, out here.
Wow.
So it was a journey. Like, everything is a journey. Nothing is going to come like bam.
Overnight.
Easy.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's
And
not.
people see it because everybody's like, oh, you're doing so well. Like, I got this huge office, employees and all that. But it didn't start there.
No.
Like, my first employee was my brother because I did not trust anybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I hire a family member, I could at least get some work done and I can trust him. And he did a great job, for what he could do. But I needed, some more people to come in and kind of have a little bit more knowledge. Like, I had to teach him everything.
Right.
And so I was so scared, which I talk about in my book, the fear of going out on my own, having employees, thinking about health insurance. I mean, all of that fear, it like really slowed me down. But I finally got over it and I'm doing well.
And I'm glad you said that. And the reason, that, I brought up like that you're a business owner and that you're a lawyer, like, and he was like, my daughter likes to bake. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, like literally, like if that's something that she wants to do because that's where her heart is, she got a mom that can show her the road to have her own bakery, you know what I'm saying, or have her own type of, whoever that's going to provide whatever services. Like, me and Kim had a mom in here, and I was telling Kim about this cake that these folk had that was tall as me, you know what I'm saying, and I can guarantee you that it wasn't no cheap cake, you know what I'm saying, and Lord will, I got my fingers crossed, I got a little young cat that's on the little cooking chef with the kids. The little boy that keeps winning on there is from Evergreen.
Okay.
All right, so he's from Belleville. So
That's
I reached out to
awesome.
his mom, and we're trying to get him on the podcast.
yeah.
And he's
Oh,
like a
wow.
little youngin, like literally out here cooking better than I'll probably ever be able to cook as a child. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely, stand in agreement with you with understanding like this is my child, this is how they are, and try to take what they do as a child and formulate it into a success path for them versus trying to put them on a path that they're probably going to rebel against. They'll probably get it done, but it's going to be a whole lot of rebellion throughout that process.
And it's not going to be fulfilling. Like, you talked about the pandemic, and one thing that just terrible happened to me during the pandemic, my brother died. And so he died of COVID. He was 39. We're a year apart. And from that experience, that pushed us a lot too to realize like you have to be fulfilled in what you're doing.
Right.
You can't, and that's why we don't want to force our children. You got to go to college. You got to do this because they could do all of that, and then like what happened to my brother, and you lived 39 years.
Yeah.
And you went to college for 4 years because you were forced to. You did this because you were forced to. Like, no, we look at things a lot different, dealing with a death like that that's so close and young.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because I think just you even being able to just speaking to your child's Ben, like that's so imperative, because I remember just growing up and feeling like, okay, my dad would want me to do certain things, and I'm like, that's really not that's not really what I care about. That's really not what I want to do. So I definitely commend you for just being able to just see them. You know what I mean? Because that's a big deal.
Our parents, they did it out of love.
Yeah.
They thought that, okay, you do this, you go to college, you do this. We they wanted us to be better than them.
Right.
But because I know mine, they didn't see a whole lot of Black business owners, entrepreneurs. Like now we see all of that. And then one thing, that I feel like is great with me, you talking about my daughter, like I can talk to her about, opening a bakery and all that, but I don't even have to. Like I got people, when you get to a place where You have people who you can call, be like, hey,
Your network.
you know,
Yeah.
you're not going to have that network if you don't get out yourself, and do some things. So that's how you can help your children as well. Like, you have a good network that trust you, because everybody ain't going to be wanting to help you if they can't trust you, you know. So I think that's helpful as well, is just being able to share not only knowledge with your children, but also like other things, like other people and their knowledge and things like that.
That's what pours into them.
Yes.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, I think that you've been awesome.
Thank you.
She is.
I think that I definitely probably need to make sure that I put you in my network and you do the same.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you coming. Me and Kim both.
Thank you.
Kim, I thank you for bringing her in.
You're welcome.
She sent me a list, and I was like, hey, yeah, definitely bring the lawyer in. Like, she needs to come.
Bring the lawyer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, definitely bring her in.
So I don't do all types of law, but I have a network. And that's what, I tell people, like, if I can't do it because I only do injury, if you're hurt, if you're in a car crash, call me. But if you need a family law lawyer, you're going through a divorce, like, I have people that I can call, be like, hey, I need you to help this person,
Right.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off, I'm sorry. Why did you choose personal law? Or personal injury, excuse me.
I kind of fell into it in a sense. Before I went to law school, I worked for a personal injury law firm. And so I kind of like knew it, kind of like the back of, because I did everything for him. Like, I did everything. So when I got out of law school, it's kind of like, well, this is kind of, I already know it. I don't have to learn anything else. So
it just made sense.
It made sense. And then I love it. I mean, I love helping people because people don't realize, like, especially when you're seriously injured, like, that just really changes your life.
Yeah.
And you need somebody who's going to be there, who's going to, care about you, who's going to make sure not only that you get the money that you need, but also, like, there's other things you may need, emotional support, mental health. So I really enjoy it.
I noticed on your social media that you post like Tip Tuesdays.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
So what are like 3 tips that you can share with the audience?
First of all, if you're getting ready, do not speak with the insurance company. Not without calling a lawyer first. Definitely. I tell people the insurance company is not your friend. They think, oh, I'm gonna call the insurance company. I'm gonna do. The number one thing that they're trying to do too is either deny the claim and not pay anything, or pay as little as possible. And so when you get on there and you say, oh, I'm okay, even though you got hurt, but I'm okay, they're gonna take that and use it against you. So
Like,
that's
be quiet.
the first. Be quiet. Get medical attention. Definitely, if you're not, even if you're just sore, go to the doctor, see what's going on. Because I had a client who, man, you know how men are. You know how y'all are. Oh, I'm good.
It's great.
So he's sore, shoulder sore, but he didn't even go to the doctor. His wife made him call me. So he called me. I'm like, you need to go to the doctor. Guess what? He ended up like having a tear in his shoulder.
Wow.
But he wouldn't have known had he not gone to get the imaging done and things like that. So definitely go and get medical attention. And then the number 3 tip is call me.
That's what up.
Call me 205-588-1411. Y'all look on Google. Y'all see all my good Google reviews. Yes. We treat people right.
That's what's up,
She has
man.
receipts. Okay.
Yes, I got receipts.
I've seen them.
Don't look
She
at
got 'em.
Collins Law on Google.
Bloop. She has them.
Well, we had Kim to. I'm gonna pound you up. I like how you slid it in there and asked for them 3 tips, to drop them 3 tips, man. So, man, we appreciate you again for coming through and again giving us those 3 tips and telling us about social media things, that positive things you have going on your social media. So what I want to do right now is we get ready to close this thing. I'll just do me a quick favor, man. Make sure you look at your camera, man, and let the people know what your name is, where they can find you, what you offer, all the other good stuff, any information that's going to be what they need to hear.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now is the time for you to go ahead and plug that in.
Okay. I'm April Collins. I'm a personal injury attorney. I help people who are in car accidents, slip and falls, people who have dealt with wrongful death. My number is 205-588-1411. We are located right here in Hoover, but we service the entire state of Alabama. So you don't have to live here. Just call me and we can help you.
And there you have it, good folks. We got another dope mom that didn't slide through here and drop some gems and drop some knowledge, man. So y'all know how we do it, man. We appreciate y'all listening to us, man. If you're looking at us right now on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, and leave some comments. For all the information that April Collins has given us on tonight, it will be in the description. And if you're listening to us on the podcast right now in your car, you got us in your AirPod, whatever you're doing, make sure that you're following the podcast. We need that download, man. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all. And until next time, I'm your host, LaCheston.
And I'm your co-host, Kim.
And y'all already know how we do it, man. Peace.